All right. Hey, everyone. Welcome back to another episode of the Creators Corner here over at TubeBuddy. I'm really excited for you guys to be joining me today. We're going to be talking about money. We're going to talk about business. We're going to talk about revenue. As a creator, I've got a special guest today, Peter Hollens. Peter Hollens is a recording artist. Oh, I've got some feedback here coming back. But Peter Hollens is a recording artist. He's an American entrepreneur. He's an entrepreneur based out of Oregon, educator, classically trained vocal artist, most commonly known for his a cappella music on YouTube and Facebook. He's also an advisor for Patreon, which we are all very familiar with. He has over 7 million subscribers and online followers in his community. His videos have reached over 1 billion views since getting on videos in 2011. He's very passionate about teaching others how to, and other creators, really how to build a business around their content so they can continue to do what they love and earn a living doing it. So I'm going to bring Peter on the screen here, and I'm going to give me 2 seconds here. All right. Hey, Peter. There he is.
Well, hello, everyone.
How you doing, Peter?
I'm doing well. If I'm looking a little bit to the side, it's because I'm trying to look at Rob. Yep. But I will try to look directly into the camera as well. My setup's a little slanted.
No worries. All good. So yeah, really excited for you to be here, Peter. Caught your webinar. You do a bunch of things online, but maybe why don't you introduce yourself to everyone out there, and who you are and what you do?
Sure. Like you so gracefully said, my name is Peter Hollens. I get to make a living making dorky a cappella music. Just a bunch of sounds out of my mouth, and that is my music. I can pretty much do any genre. I've been doing it full-time as a musician since 2011. Prior to that, I was recording other people, but I turned the mic on myself. And since then, I started teaching myself through doing it the wrong way, how I'm supposed to be building a company and treating my community. And at every turn, I'm trying to do everything I can to scale and focus on taking myself out of my workflow. At one point, I did every aspect of my content creation, and now I do as little as possible so that I'm allowed to focus on all of the things I want to do, because I'm very passionate about teaching, and I'm passionate about technology, and I'm passionate about advising companies, so I get to learn, because I'm stuck in Eugene, Oregon, but I love being surrounded by people who are much more intelligent than me, and so that's why I advise companies. And I have 2 beautiful boys, a lovely wife who is a phenomenal singer as well. We both sang on Broadway for a little bit, and yeah, that's me. That's me. I started doing this dorky thing in 2011, and I'm still doing it. People are still showing up to look at this old man's face.
Yeah. No, you're absolutely doing amazing things out there. And so really excited for you to be here, because I think a lot of us, if you guys have a membership site, we're going to talk about a couple different things here, but really kind of the focus point is going to be building a membership, a community around your content, around your channel. And so let us know in the chat if you guys have a membership site, or if you guys would like to build one as part of your sort of business and your community. So Peter, tell us a little bit about how you got into, I want to jump the gun here a little
Please.
bit. Got into building a community. Like, when did that kind of spark up in your idea? You're like, okay, I'm building content, putting stuff out there. I should build a community.
Absolutely. I'm going to be as open and honest as possible. First and foremost, when I was starting out, I didn't have the quote unquote social cred in my eyes, because I didn't have the numbers. And so learning that I needed a community actually started from me doing the age-old follow thousands of people and see who would stay followed to me, and then I'd go back and I'd unfollow, and then the people that stayed followed I'd actually start talking to, because I wanted retention. And so early on, it was literally due to me being like, I need people following me. But eventually I fell in love with speaking to people one-on-one, and I started providing a white glove service to the dorky Peter Hollens experience, and I started caring about each and every single one of my audience members. And in doing so, I started picking up the ethos of responding to every single person and every single comment across all of my digital platforms. Now, while that was possible early on, it became very difficult to scale, and so I used as much technology and support, whether that was from my own family or my wife to respond to people, and now I'm able to do that in different ways. But it taught me how vital community was, especially as a musician who's first seen as a product and a person second, which is so difficult. Uh, and yeah, I'm EDD, so you're going to need to always go, what are you talking about, Peter?
No, that's good. I like what you said there. I think it's a lot of creators are regarded as products. You know, people don't have a connection with them. They're consuming their content, they're getting benefit out of it, but they're not really having that connection. So tell us about, we were talking before we went live, tell us about the 3 C's: content,
Yeah.
community, and connection. So kind of unpack that a little bit for our audience.
Sure. Yeah, I mean, just from like a broad macro perspective, we want to be able to do what we love for a living. So the
Right.
content creation is what we love. We want to do that. Now, making that content is great, but you need a community in order to run a business. So you need to foster that community, and you need to be a community manager. So the people that love what you do, the people that you provide value to, you need to reach out to one-on-one, provide them as much of a white glove service as possible. And you need a place to do that because we don't own these platforms. As you can see, one interesting executive order can immediately erase a platform that hundreds of millions of people were creating their business on. So it's vital for you to be able to bring them to you, to own the relationship. And in a business sense, own that data, right? Whether it's their emails or their SMS or their Facebook Messenger, if you have a messenger bot, you need to be able to reach out to the people that you provide value to and create this beautiful cyclical cycle of you do the thing you love, they provide you value to you, and it keeps on going, and the snowball keeps getting bigger and bigger. I mean, that's about as like basic as you can get.
Yeah, no, that's very true. You have to, I mean, community is a huge thing. It's a huge part of success on YouTube and really creating any type of content. So tell us a little bit about how you do that though. Like, how did you start? Like, you know, you're replying to comments and stuff like that.
Yeah.
How did you kind of then get to the point where you're like, I need to build this sort of off YouTube? So how do you, how did you start transitioning your community off YouTube?
Well, first of all, early on, that was email marketing when people actually opened their emails. Not that it doesn't work now; it's a part. And then it became Patreon. I was contacted by 3 of my followers the week Patreon released. One on email, one on YouTube, and one on Facebook. That were like, "Oh my gosh, there's this new site, and I want to be your supporter on there." And I was like, "You want to give me money?" I mean, this was back when I was like barely paying rent and getting food on the table still, and I was like, wow, okay, money, okay, I need that, let's do that. So I went in to check it out, and I was like, oh my gosh, this has never existed. How is this something that can go on and go on? The reason I never launched a Kickstarter or an Indiegogo or something similar was I was like, why am I going to do all this work and push all these people to this thing that is a one-off that ends, right? But then when I saw what Jack and Sam had built, that this was a never-ending support system for my business, I freaked out. So I started at the end of my main pillars of content, which is where I built my following on YouTube. So my music videos, I would tell people about Patreon. Actually, I told them once, and then I just started thanking them since that first video, pretty much. And the gratitude element of thanking my patrons was the marketing device. So it wasn't like I was just spewing like, come on, do this thing. I mean, I'm his most biased like Patreon supporter there is. So yes, I'm sure you're like Peter, the Patreon guy, but it's very easy to thank people and provide gratitude to the people that you care about most because they are your biggest supporters. The element of the connect in those 3 C's for me since 2013 has been dominantly Patreon, because that's like the absolute bottom of my acquisition funnel. If we're like talking business talk, you come, you watch one of my videos on any of my platforms, I either get you again on another video and try to convince you that I'm a human and that, hi, we should have a friendship as much as possible as far as me making music for you and you enjoying it. And then I try to get them to come to my website, buy a physical album, or come to Patreon. any number of ways. So yeah.
Love it. I love it. I see Bradley Vincent. I see Lucas here as well. Daniel Glickman. So you guys, welcome. I see Jeff Bates, Neil, good friend of ours as well, here over at TubeBuddy. Good to see all of you. Miss Betty Fitness as well. So excited to learn about Patreon here. So I want to jump the gun a little bit again. I want to make the most of this time with Peter here because you're just.
Anything.
You know this inside and out. Not just Patreon, but really the
Oh my
the
God, I can talk about anything. I would love to talk about AVD and CTR and running a Shopify site, but whatever you guys want, let's do it.
Yeah, exactly. So guys, joining us live, let us know what you want to know about here. Okay. So when it comes to Patreon though, I am curious, Peter, in your webinar, you did a training, you did a free training. I attended that. And you said actually, in your experience, when people are, signing up for your Patreon, becoming members, even at the lower tiers, sort of the lifetime value of that Patreon actually starts to go up, right? So tell us a little bit about that, because people are like, well, I don't want to give away everything for a couple bucks, a few bucks a month. So tell us your experience with that.
I think that there's such a crucial education element that if I could bestow upon anyone that wants to become a creator. And it's just a very simplistic, ad revenue is not the future. Membership is. You can look at companies like Hulu and Netflix as examples of how we're teaching consumers that membership is the future. TV is not the way it used to be. Now it is literally membership, at least the future that I see. Yeah. And so you and the brand that you're creating and the content you're creating, you are that tiny little Hulu. You are that tiny little Netflix, and they want to become a member of you. And that is your goal. You want to bring them into your community. And so the interesting thing is starting a membership community, whether it's Patreon or whether it's some of the what I would like to say copycats, because after Jack did it, people like YouTube and Facebook started creating their own membership, which is beautiful, and it was the entire goal of what Jack was doing. No matter where it is best for you to create it, you just ask your community to join you on the journey, and you should have a entry level that is very easy for people to afford. If it's $1 a month or $2 a month, I mean, it depends on the way you're setting up your business. Mm-hmm. But the lifetime value of a patron for me, just in terms of raw data, is over $200 now. I never think about how much somebody's giving me, but just getting them to become part of the family, because in the end, I care the most about my patrons, and I want to provide the most value to them because they care about me the most. And so it's come do this thing together. We're going to pick songs. We're going to pick the cover art. We're going to discuss it. We're going to talk about the roughs. We're going to talk about the originals I'm writing. And we're going to try to make the world a better place through creating joyful, inspirational content. And that's me and my brand and my Hollens family. The people who can't afford it are on Patreon, and if you can't, it doesn't matter. It's totally fine. But yeah, to your point, Rob, I just want people to be able to become a part of my community. And as a business person, it is quintessential for me to get them off of these billion-dollar companies that care the most about their shareholders, and because that's not the goal, right? And so one of the reasons why I trust and believe in Patreon so much, even though I'm sure the bigger they get, the more they'll get dragged through the mud, because that is the way this works, and capitalistic everything. It's run by a creator. It's run by a creator. The ethos and the heart of that company is for content creators. I've seen time and time again since the beginning of Patreon multiple things that are both external and internal. Jack and the team will pick because they're doing it for the right reason, and I only spend time helping companies that are doing it for the right reasons, which is why I love TubeBuddy, why I love Phil, because I know why they're doing it. They're doing it for the right reasons, and so that was a rant, and I didn't let you talk, so I'm so sorry.
No. It's all good. Keep on going. We've got Bradley Vincent here. I want to build a community of video producers to help them make their video graphics better. So I think that's, at the heart of a lot of creators. I think it's really to help others, right? And the thing is, before Jack built, Patreon, it was really hard for creators to kind of monetize and make it sustainable, right? building content. A lot of people are like, I want to do it for fun. I want to do it because I have a passion for it. Their heart isn't in the right place, but
Yeah,
all
and so
these things take resources, right?
Before the summer of 2013, that vertical of, let's say, a normal creator's P&L didn't exist. And,
Right.
and I want every creator to understand something. Your revenue model that you're creating, because you have to think about this as a businessman, is not just one thing. It's not just ad revenue on YouTube. It's not just Patreon. It's not just whatever kind of creator you are selling a product. Like, you need to be able to have your hand in every single cookie jar, because in the end, you don't know what's around the corner. You don't know some type of random ad apocalypse or the TikTok. I mean, you just don't know. So you need to be able to own your relationships, own your revenue streams, and okay, sorry.
That's very, very true. You have to diversify. And our friend Dole Whip Dad, Jeff Bates, says, totally agree. Ad revenues are down, memberships are up. It is a model that a lot of people are going after now. Memberships, monthly subscriptions, recurring revenue, predictable income. Those are the goals these days. So, so more guys, again, I invite you guys to ask your questions. I know that there's lots of them, so don't be shy. Ask your questions. Kind of let us know even where you're at right now with your with sort of like monetizing and building a business around your channel. Whatever that question is, I'm sure I have a pretty good feeling that Peter has an answer for you. So let us know.
Might not be the right one, but I will give you an answer.
He'll give you an answer. There you go. All right. So we've got Dole Whip Dad, Jeff Bates here. Always wondered about this. Can Peter speak to it, if anything, if ever came of Jack getting Casey Neistat to Meetup thing? Did anything ever come of that?
Well, that's not for me to speak about. I know that they established a friendship and a relationship, and they're in contact now, which wasn't a thing that happened prior to him making that amazing video. If you guys want to know how to vlog edit, if you want to edit correctly for now, go watch that video and learn so many new techniques. I can't wait to watch Jack's newest edits, because he just thinks out of the box, and that's that's just another example. He's running 2 music groups. He edits like that himself. I mean, he is a content creator. Oh, also, by the way, he's the CEO of Patreon. I mean, it's like that's who you want to buy into when you're doing that. So yeah, I mean, I hope something bigger comes to fruition, but yeah.
Yeah, absolutely.
I know. I love that video so much too. Sorry, I'm looking at the comments.
No, it's good. It's good. No, I was gonna say, like, on Jack Conti, I got the opportunity to listen to him speak live at Vid Summit, I think 2019 or 2018.
So good.
So good, man. Just like, just a creative guy. Even his presentation, he was like, every sentence was a slide. So he's like literally like bam, 1 second bam, slides.
Bam.
Bam. Yeah, so good. So yeah, Jack, again, running Patreon and coming from the right heart. So tell us about, really, YouTube right now is a huge space, right? We've got a huge space on YouTube. There's lots of content being uploaded. Tell us a little bit about how you grew your channel a little bit.
Sure.
I know you've been in the game for a while, but
I'm gonna go macro level, so it can be helpful to any vertical, whether it's musician or designer or anytime making content.
Yep.
I view my macro content creation in like 2 different pools. One being an acquisition video, and the other one being something that provides either A, revenue for the business long term, or B, something that's like a passion project that allows me to like regenerate my mana pool. Video games are cool. That rhymed. Yes. So basically, depending upon where my channel's at, and I'm an analytic freak. I love eating up all the analytics on the back end, AVD, CTR, everything. I will try to game plan pre-pro so that I have always multiple things coming that are creating content that I know will provide me revenue throughout my business, and then multiple things that will provide me passion back. Because if I get too stressed out or anxious, I'm not a good boss. I'm not a good singer, so that's important. But also, acquisition of new eyeballs is essential. So I will hit new fandoms all the time, jump in full-fledged into new things that I've never done before, because either I've been requested it multiple times and never did it, whether it was anime or even something that I have done to death now, which was like Lord of the Rings. I even created an entire Lord of the Rings album, and
Nice.
it's a fandom, right? Just like Disney's a
Yep.
fandom, and so you have the ability to have long-term SEO and suggestive content when you do things like, let's say, if you're looking at my channel right now, like Epic Disney Sidekicks Medley. I mean, that is as pretty much of a like, I'm making this because it's a game and I want eyeballs, because I'm hitting multiple things. I'm hitting a fandom. I'm doing it with really rapid paced IP, so people get new songs very quickly. It keeps the average view duration up, and it also allows me to like show like lots of characters on the thumbnail, so maybe people are interested. I don't know. I could always make my thumbnails slightly
so
better,
good.
and we A/B test all the time. But
So good.
so yeah,
So
basically
good.
two different types of content, right? One that's like bringing new people in, getting them
Yep.
in the top of the funnel, and then one that is providing value to the company revenue-wise, to myself, so I can keep on going. And then I guess there's only almost one A, one B, and one C, and then that same one that I look at as like, oh, this won't really do quote unquote well compared to my average video. I'll also do songs specifically because I've been asked to do them from my patrons, and not because it's necessarily something that I'm super stoked about, but I'm like, well, these people really want this. These
That's
people,
so good.
my Hollens family really wants this. That makes me sound Peter Hollens live.
Peter Hollens. No, I
Don't
love
say
it.
the
I
wrong
love it.
words. But
Yeah. Yeah.
so acquisition versus I
The
already said it
other
three
one. The
times.
other one. Yeah.
The other
Yeah.
one that actually
Yeah.
is like multiple things that I
Yeah.
didn't say.
No,
right.
that's a really good key point, guys. So if you guys are just starting out, there's a really good question here from Dennis, but I'm going to ask that in a second. But again, looking at your content, not all content is the same. You're not just uploading one. So Peter, I love that you shared that. You know, you're acquiring new audiences. This is like next level trending type approach. You're not just like you're going after like fandom, like cult following,
It's so
communities.
important. I mean,
So important.
it's so important. You gotta hit the IPs that will have super long tails. So you know that like in multiple years, like it's almost guaranteed, as long as you do a good video that has high AVD in your click through, in your thumbnail isn't bad, that you're gonna have millions of views. That sounds really bad. That it's gonna be very successful for you depending upon the ratio of where your channel is.
Yeah, no,
You
really good.
You got to do it, and then you provide your own spin on it, right? You mean like,
Exactly. You add your own flavor to it, right? No, that's really good. There's a good question here from Dole Whip Dad. Oh no, sorry, wrong. Pinoy Video Marketer. So Dennis, would it be a good idea to start a Patreon right away as a tiny creator? What are the best practices for retention as somebody starting out? Yeah. So when do you start creating a membership?
Yes. Okay. So this is fun, and I actually in my course I actually argue with Jack Conte, the CEO, because he believes you should wait, and I believe you shouldn't. And the reasons why I think you shouldn't are as follows. Number one, I have a few patrons who are well off that by themselves have provided an incredible amount of fiscal value for the company. So you may luck out on your first few patrons, and they might be able to provide lots of monetary value to you. B, as long as you're able to have realistic expectations, then it's okay. If you are a musician and you are, let's say, 100th the size of a channel or a brand like mine, and you think that you should be able to get 1/10 of the amount of patrons, then you're not looking at the math right. People who are like podcasters or people who are personalities or vloggers, in my opinion, depending upon the connection and how well they're a community manager, can get really high conversion rates. And so it's slightly different any way you look at it. But if you go into Patreon with the perspective of, I should be able to convert my audience at like a 1 to 3% range, then I think it is okay to start, because you have to learn and grow with your patrons. And so right now, the way the site is built, I highly recommend launching a Patreon account, having 3 tiers, a good, better, best system, and don't have crazy expectations. If you are a small creator and you don't have a huge community that you're providing a high value to, then don't have high expectations, but you might be making an extra 50, 150, $250 a month, and that's something.
Yeah.
Even, so, and when you, so, I disagree. I still disagree. I think any amount of money and learning is important, but only you know the time that you have and what you can put towards different elements of your business.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. Good answer. Start even I agree with you. Start even as small when your channel is small. Bradley Vincent from Facebook Live has a question. How much interaction is needed for groups like this? So I'm assuming community on Patreon. Do you make your group or your Patreon the home base and do less in other places on YouTube?
That's a really good question. Yeah.
Yeah. How do you manage your time
So
there?
I'll give you two different examples. One is me. I am active there. I am as active there as I am anywhere else. Equal or more so. My wife, on the other hand, who is holding down the fort with 2 kids and still running a Patreon campaign that is still providing over $1,000 a month to our business, doesn't post ever. She only posts her Patreon videos, and the community knows that that's just the way it is because that's how much time she has. It depends on your business and what you can do. And I think if you provide those expectations up front to your patrons and let them know where you are with your time and that you're putting your time and energy into the product that they care about most, then it is fine. But you need to have those conversations. So it's different for every single creator. And from the data that I'm aware of, 70 to 75% of people who provide support are doing it not for the thing, but because they believe in you. They want to be part of what you're doing. They want to be part of the journey, and they want to provide value back because you've been providing value to them for a long, extended period of time, or short. But it has data backing that up. So as long as you communicate, you're transparent, you're clear, then I think you can run your business in any way you see fit. And the beautiful thing about Patreon is it allows you to do so, right? You can make it on a per content basis. You can do it on a per month basis. And you can set up your tiers in any level. And you can change your tiers. So, we could jump into anything. But don't forget, I believe in membership no matter what. Every single creator should have it. It doesn't mean that you have to use Patreon. If for some reason your friends and peers around you have dragged Patreon through the mud because they're the best at what they do, and that just happens to the big dogs, that's fine. But there's other companies that are doing it too, and you should try it out because it needs to be part of your fiscal strategy, and you have to have it. Just like you need to be on YouTube because it is the best big platform giving you new eyeballs. My recommendation, if somebody's been doing this for a long time, biased, yes, is that Patreon's the best. Just like Eventbrite, like a few years ago, was the best at providing, events. Sorry, my metaphor right now is not going to fly. But
I get it.
They're the best at what they do. So why not run with the best?
Yeah.
I don't know.
Yeah. Absolutely. Yeah, there's definitely other platforms to build your membership on. Now, let's talk about, so beyond memberships, you have courses as well, right? So we're talking about revenue for creators here. So take us back to when you decided to start then building courses. So like on-demand courses and where that fits with what you're doing.
I mean, from a fiscal standpoint, my education company is not one that I'm running in a net positive over the last 3 years because I've been so passionate about keeping my costs down as much as possible for the content creators, which is a bad business move. Don't follow my lead there. But I'm so passionate about educating and helping creators do what they love for a living that I'm doing it regardless. I'm trying to now run a business that is sustainable on the education side by itself and trying to silo that off. To your question though, when you create other verticals of revenue, it is quintessential. So for me personally, there's multiple facets to my revenue structure: physical, digital, brand deals, speaking engagements, live performances now that are mostly like streaming performances, and education. And my goal has always been to provide value and hopefully one day can create a very consistent revenue model there as well. But I think it's so important to be able to diversify your revenue as a creator and think about that from the perspective of building a business. Because if you only do one thing on one platform, at one point you will be cut off, and it won't be your fault, but because it will happen, something will change. Whether it's a algorithm, that's that word that everybody blames, or it's the fact that like you aren't resonating with your audience anymore on that platform with that demographic.
Mm-hmm.
You need to diversify and you need to think long-term in your business strategy. So yeah.
I like it. Yeah. So definitely diversify your revenue streams. A lot of people want to get to AdSense, and this is a conversation I get to have probably multiple times every week. It's like there's a lot of big creators that don't even use AdSense because they can make bigger revenue on other platforms, brand deals, sponsored content, memberships, courses.
It totally depends upon the vertical, right? Like
totally.
If you are a Tim Schmoyer or Daryl Eves, like your business is probably going to be really high on the percentage of course content creation.
Yes.
That doesn't necessarily completely fly for me yet. I hope that at one point that happens, but if it doesn't, it doesn't. But I do believe in educating your peers, because I for some reason, content creators, musicians first and foremost, but I think content creators have been brainwashed somehow in some way to think that there's only one or two ways to do it. And gosh, guys, there's no rules. There's just no rules. And the digital everything. I use big words. I didn't read enough books as a kid. The digital landscape allows us to go back in time and see how all of our peers and the people we look up to and the people that have inspired us have done it. And you can learn from their successes and failures, and you can copy what they've done and make it your own, and then make it uniquely you and put your own spin on it, right? And then niche down. I mean, there's just so many different ways to do this, and I don't know what I'm talking about now. I will be.
No, it's all good. All good. People are wondering about your gear, though. Really quick, what kind of camera do you have? What are you using? Are you using a ZV-1? Jeff Bates is wondering.
That is a great question for not me.
Look at that background.
Yeah, it's a
camera.
Sony. Hey guys, I'm a content creator and I don't know what the camera is. Sorry, I have so many cameras now. It's a Sony. It says small rig on it. Live Streaming Pro set it up. They are amazing. I give all my love to Luria. Yes, they are the best. If you can, take their course, buy them stuff. They are the best. I have a video coming out with them at some point that's going to talk about how amazing they are in setting this up. And it's so small and perfect, and it just fits in my studio in the midst of a pandemic, and we had to move. And gosh, all the love to them.
I love it. I totally realized like you guys are all Oregon folks. There you go.
Oh man,
awesome. Love it. I love it.
Yeah.
Jeff's hoping it's a Canon. We got some Canon fans out there. There you go.
I think the lens might be. No, it's a Sigma lens.
There you go.
I have a C200 and a C200 though, so there's that.
There you go. Yeah, Logitech. Perfect. From Dennis again. What's the pitfalls? A couple pitfalls. I know there's probably a whole ton.
Of course.
And I want to. But what a couple pitfalls there to avoid when building a community.
Do not launch with tons and tons of tiers. Period. If you're launching on Patreon now, only have 3 tiers. Do not have more. You can add them later, and you can add them after your patrons have asked for specific things, and then be like, does $50 sound good for that? Does $25 sound good for that? Launch with 3 tiers. Make sure that when you start that you have gone through all the pros and cons of picking a per content or per month basis.
That's actually the next question. But we'll get there. Pros and cons.
Pitfalls. Don't hide things from your patrons just because you're scared to tell them. Like, even if you you launched with 3 tiers and you're like, that 3rd tier, that's not working for me, like, tell them and let them know what you need to change it to. And I mean, I've had to change so much stuff and I've had no blowback.
Got it. You can remove tiers. So you can remove tiers if you want.
Everything is customizable.
If people have signed up for it, you can remove it, things like that. There you go, guys. Awesome. Okay, next question from Jeff. And guys, I guess essentially we're in Q&A now. So if you have any questions about anything, YouTube, content creation, pimp membership, affiliates, whatever, everything. If you want Peter to sing, I don't know, he will, but anything, just ask us in the chat. That's what we're here for, right? So monthly, because this is an option on Patreon, you can do monthly or per video. So couple pros, couple cons.
Sure.
With that.
I think I know the mass majority of creators are on the monthly, and I believe that Patreon, just like any company, builds towards what is best for their clients, which is the creators. So most of the cool features I don't get to use, but for my specific business, a per piece of content works best. I'll tell you why I picked per video. Number one, I don't want to charge my patrons unless I'm giving them the one thing that they like the most. I like that. I think that there's an accountability there where I'm like, I'm not charging your credit card unless I give you the thing I've promised you. I like that. Most creators and most people who use Patreon in their business, they need that consistent revenue and they need to count on what they get to have per month. Most of society is built on per month. You got this mortgage and this rent and this health insurance, hopefully. Okay. And so per month is the mass majority of people. I personally, in my business, make more money on a per content basis because of the production funnel I've set up and the relationship that I have created and fostered with my patrons. So for me personally, because I always create at least 2 videos a month, it makes best sense for me to do per video. Per month, especially for creators who are trying to make the just starting out and or trying to make it from a part-time creator to making the move to full-time. And the thing that I think Patreon gives the most is the ability to see that, because you can see what you're going to make next month. And that in and of itself, that feeling is so freeing. And the ability to say, oh my gosh, I don't need to worry about my rent. I don't need to worry about my healthcare. Or if you're a little further on in your business, you can say, I can hire a contractor to do that thing that I hate, that I'm not that good at, and it'll make my end content better. And in that thinking, you start all of a sudden stop thinking about money and start thinking about time. And in doing so, then you start thinking like a Silicon Valley company. And then in doing so, you start now rapidly scaling your business and your strategy so that you're doing the thing that you love, that you do best, so that you're only doing the thing that you provide the most value back to yourself, both as a human and for your business. And I think that's the first time I got that feeling as a creator. And that was what Patreon was able to bestow upon me, was like freeing myself from anxiety, helping me see past the one piece of content I was working on. The reason why I was able to hire my first contractor, my first W-2 employee. Remember, and that's what membership is. If you're able to finally know what you're going to get as a salary from the people you care about most, that care about you the most, like, huzzah! Anybody else watching that show on Netflix? Anyway, it's a beautiful thing.
That's true. Yeah. The fact of a predictable income, you can kind of see what you're getting, and then you can build a business around that. So I love
Thank you for distilling what I just said.
Yeah,
in
exactly.
5 seconds.
I'm just
instead
like
of my passionate rant of barf. Thank you.
That's what I'm trying to do here. So no, it's great. It's great. So I've got a Patreon, and it is on monthly, just because then it's predictable for me. I can kind of figure out, okay, when I get to this point, we can get an editor, and you can do all those things. So really awesome. There's some really good questions here. I don't know if there's a really good answer to this. I'm sure you probably have a good one, but what's a price? What's a starting point? Like what are like the common, I don't know if there's data, but like what's some good price points for those 3 tiers?
So if I am consulting one of my fellow peers, I usually, this is what I want to see them do, and this is what I'm actually now adjusting mine to do as well. I think your first tier should be between $1 and $5. I think your second tier, think again, good, better, best. I think your second tier should be somewhere between $5 and $25, and I think your third tier should be between $25 and $50. And I think in doing so, you're setting yourself up for the best, per patron money back to you. Like currently, that was not English, but anyway, currently, if you go look at mine, it is just too low, and I can adjust some of the rewards that I am doing in a way that is going to fit my business better, and I know I will reap the rewards on the monetary side. Now, I would like to say the reason why I have 7 tiers is because I've been on the platform for 7 years.
7 years.
And so I'm slowly adjusting and making it smaller and smaller. Also, the new like UI and design that like does show these 3 verticals so prominently didn't exist until like about the last 9 months. So all of the advice I'm giving, I know works. I know it's backed by data, and I still haven't had time to do it yet. So there's that. Yeah, I'm like, do these things. Oh, I'm not doing it yet.
I'm not doing it yet. No. That's
but yes, your first tier 1 to 5,
yep.
Your second tier 5 to 25, your third tier 25 to 50.
25 to 50.
I would say the best would be like 5, 15, 50, or 5, 25, 50. In my opinion.
Got it. Nice. So hopefully that answers your question there, Adrian. It's a really good question. On the other side of the coin, though, from Facebook Live, Zoki's wondering, is it okay to just have 1 tier?
Anything is okay. Anything is okay.
Okay. Gotcha.
I'm assuming, and I go back to what I already said. Patreon is customizable. I think Zoki, if you were to be able to A/B test, you would find that as long as you're creating value off platform and you are getting people to the site, you would see more money coming your way if you were to try a 3-tiered system. But some people just like having 1 tier, right? You can look at like the good old membership model on Twitch or Facebook or on YouTube, where it's like, this is my one
thing.
1 click, and maybe that helps on the conversion rate. It's like the Amazon model of like 1 click buying. Maybe that's what their perspective is. I don't think that's right. I think it's better for the creator to be able to provide more options, because guess what? Then you let them decide what they want to do. And so Zoki, if you want to do just 1, you go ahead and do just 1. I think you would do better doing 3, but you do you, brother.
Yeah. Good answer, man. Yeah, whatever works for you. It's totally customizable.
Nothing is cookie cutter, right? Like I could provide you templates, which is like what I do in my Patreon course that I created, that I made with Patreon, and Jack Conte's in it. But if you're interested in Patreon, take this thing that he's showing, because it's just literally I just teach for straight like 65 minutes. I don't know, Rob, you were
it was like a masterclass. So yeah, definitely I put the link there multiple times, guys, in the chat, so go check that out. That's an awesome course. You can watch the webinar replay, I believe, right on the top there that you're looking at. Man, I had like pages of notes from that.
Good. See that? And then like that's the whole point. Like I want everybody to come and learn. And then if you're crazy awesome, and if you want to buy the course, then do so.
Exactly.
But if you don't, I don't care. It'll help you. But hey.
Yeah. No, this is really good. So let me just see if there's any other questions here. Let me see. If time allowed, people let us know how to get more from publishers to post cover songs. Oh, there's a question here from Dole Whip Dad. Dole Whip Dad now he's huge into Disney. That's like the whole channel's got an awesome community. So he's wondering, honestly, this is the question that he had was, what's your favorite Disney song that you've ever done? Your Villains medley is an all-time great.
Oh, that's very kind of you. Sir Dole Whip Dad, my favorite, it does change depending upon which Disney movie I'm watching home with my six-year-old. But I don't think that there's a better song than Alan Menken's like, and Lion King. Man, that entire soundtrack is just everything. It is so my childhood. I've sat there listening to my CD player when I was in high school, like bawling to it. But there's so much great music, and being a multi-billion-dollar company like Disney, you get to hire the best, and so they make the best music.
Absolutely. I love it. Yeah. I'm glad we got you to sing. That's perfect. Check that off on my list today. That's awesome. Ding. Catherine Jung, all good. Replay's available. So there's been some questions. Can we watch the replay? Yes. The replay is going to be on our Facebook page over there. Dole Whip Dad says, amen. Question here from Lynn from Facebook Live. How do you distinguish what's free versus paid? That's a good question, actually.
Yeah, it's a great question. I do believe it completely depends on your business and the vertical of your content creation. However, I really, really believe in providing all content out for free as a worldwide marketing device until it is obvious to you what you need to gate, right? I'd love for me and many of my fellow creators that I consult to tell them to gate the content creation prior to release of the final, not only because you get feedback from the people that care the most about what you're creating, which is amazing. I mean, these people are like paying to be your like team members. And it's kind of easy to be like, well, here's a rough draft, or this is something that I haven't cut yet, or this is something that I'm working on, and they want to see it. So in my opinion, don't make entire content just for, let's say, your membership. And that's just like a template. Doesn't work for everybody. Doesn't make much sense for every single type of content creator because there's bajillions of us. But that works for me. That works for many of my peers, and it's a great place to start. Again, I still think the best way to start out, because of acquisition, because we have these platforms that go worldwide, except for China and some parts of Russia, is to create free content and then grab them and provide all of the community management you possibly can.
Absolutely. Excellent answer, Lynn. Hopefully that helps your question there. I want to respect your time, Peter. So I appreciate it. I appreciate your time so much. I know you're super busy. You've got a lot of things on the go. But guys, go check out the course. There's a replay of the webinar that Peter did, free training on how to supercharge your Patreon. And again, this is something you really want to take seriously. You know, memberships. I totally wholeheartedly agree with Peter that memberships is going to be the future for your business. For a lot of content creators, this is how you can make a sustainable business so you can keep creating what you love to help people out there. And the whole of that is, where can I find his Patreon course? Is it on Patreon? I put a link in the chat there, Jeff. So I'll put the link in the chat there, Creator Education, and then it's a bit of a longer link. But I'm going to put it back on the chat again to bump it up. But in the meantime, Peter, thank you so much for hanging out with us, for hanging out with the TubeBuddy community. Again,
pleasure.
Where can people find you? You're everywhere, but where can people connect with you the best?
Yeah, I mean, come on. I mean, it's just Peter YouTube acapella, but I mean, it's peterhollens.com is my site. I think if you are going to do Patreon, that you should literally become my patron for $1 for 1 month and copy all the things I've done, like take notes. I think the best thing to do for any aspect of content creation is to learn from people who are succeeding at it. So come and steal all of my ideas, make them your own, make a living doing what you love. Come and take this course that's like, it's literally like a free hour masterclass. I hate selling anything, so I really barely even did that. And it's just me teaching for an hour, so come and take that. That's actually not even publicly live right now. So yeah.
There you go.
It's awesome. And come and check me out. Oh, my education site's called creatoreducation.com. That's easy to remember.
Creatoreducation.com. Exactly. There you go. So I'm going to be putting that all in the chat. Again, we are so aligned with the way that you are doing things, Peter, like TubeBuddy. We just want to help creators as well. So that's why, we wanted to really invite you and appreciate your time hanging out with us here. So I'm going to put the link again to just not the course, but the site. And you can connect with Peter there as well. And I put the Patreon link as well. So Peter, thank you so much. I appreciate
thanks for
it.
having me, Rob.
Yeah, man. Stay safe, stay well, and we'll talk to you very soon.
Thanks, guys.
Take care.